Hi, it's Joe. Welcome to the Quilt Report. Recently I was given a book by a friend of mine that she found. She thought I would like it, Hidden in Plain View, The Secret Story of Quilts and the Underground Railroad. And people that know anything at all about quilts, that's one thing many modern people know, is that they were used as markers along the Underground Railroad. Because when this book was published about 20 years ago, this idea was so fetching, it took root in our culture, and it's just made a lot of people happy to think that quilts were used as markers along the Underground Railroad. They were supposed to work like this. A runaway slave at night is going to get close enough to a farmhouse, let us say, where, remember, there's no electric light, it's very dark, where there's a quilt hanging on the line, and the slave sees the quilt, and it happens to be one that's used as a marker along the Underground Railroad, and it says, and the pattern on the quilt is the North Star pattern, and that tells the slave, go north. It's that kind of information that's in this book. It's that intellectually plausible. It's that people would use quilts as markers of some kind. There's all kinds of quilts hanging on clotheslines at this time, and how would you know which ones had any information in them that you could use? The problem is, this never happened. There's never been any corroboration of any type that this happened. No mention by enslaved narratives, no mentions in letters or documents of any kind from the 19th century. Nobody ever mentioned it. I mean, it would be like me saying that this pattern, which is unknown as far as I know, it's a unique pattern, this woman made up a very cool pattern, it would be like me deciding that it has some meaning. You should go to the bar and get enough beer to make your head explode. Right? No, there's no corroboration for that. I looked at some books. Always There, The African American Presence in American Quilts by the late, great Cuesta Benberry. Nothing in there. Indiana quilts. Oklahoma quilts. African American quilt making in Michigan. Nope, nothing in there. Florida quilts. No, lots of letters in there and interviews. Pennsylvania quilts. No, they never mentioned it. South Carolina's tradition. New York quilts. Nobody ever mentioned it. I got a whole lot of books here, and there's never been one mention in these state books where they have letters and information and family stories from the 19th century. Nobody ever mentions the idea that quilts were used along the Underground Railroad. If you'd like to know the real deal, here's a great book, Facts and Fabrications, Unraveling the History of Quilts and Slavery, by my friend, the great historian, Barbara Brackman. Look this book up because Barbara explains how quilts, what kind of quilts were made, by whom, and everything that she could find out about it, and never found a single idea. So she says it's a nice idea that just didn't happen. It's a story. Like George Washington cutting down the cherry tree. It's that kind of a story. It's a myth. So if anybody asks you about the Underground Railroad and quilts, please explain to them that's a myth. I saw Joe's video about it. I'll talk to you later.